environment that we're trying to curate.
Or if you prefer swiping, you can also use their dating app if you follow these few simple rules.
You actually have to send somebody a drink time and place, and that's all done inside the app.
They're encouraging singles and people looking for new friends to start a conversation with a stranger. Mary Lou Buckley, 1010 wins on 92.3 FM in Chelsea.
As news time 7:31, traffic and transit with Greg Rice.
Still slow on the southbound side of the FDR Drive from right off of the RFK down to the Queensboro. The downtown bound West Side Highway, that is going to be a much better ride for you at this hour. Now, here is what you need to know about the bridges and tunnels. City-bound side of the George Washington Bridge, pretty good ride to the upper and lower. The Cross Bronx, the worst of it out. Again, the west side, the best of it out. Lincoln Tunnel, no more than a few minutes in either direction. Holland, still about 20 to 30 minutes out of town. Outbound covered roadway and inbound skyway are slow. The Newark Bay, it's going to be a much better play. It's really getting slow in Queens right now. Cross Island's a mess either way to UBS. Northbound from an already slow belt in Southern States. Southbound Cross Island bad from the Throgs Neck. It's because of the Mary J. Blige concert tonight over at UBS Arena. At least as far as it carries you, the southbound side of the Clearview, that is going to treat you a whole lot better. Back in Jersey, out of the outbound Holland, outbound Skyway is a mess. Again, there was a crash after Tonley Avenue. The westbound Newark Bay, better play. I'm Greg Rice, 1010 wins on 92.3 FM.
Oh, yes!
Now's the perfect time to get even stronger at Planet Fitness. With free fitness training, best-in-class equipment, and most clubs open 24 hours. Save $28 or more when you join today for just $1 down, $15 a month. Cancel anytime. Deal ends April 11th. See Home Club for details.
Now the AccuWeather 4-day forecast with meteorologist Brian Thompson.
There will be rain much of the time for tonight. Some wet snow could be mixed in near and northwest of 287, where there could even be a slushy coating on some non-paved surfaces, especially across some of the higher elevations. It will be increasingly windy and cold tonight, a low of 39. Cloudy, blustery, and cold tomorrow with occasional rain and drizzle, a high of 43. AccuWeather real field temperatures close to 30 much of the day. A very cold day for the middle of April. And cloudy and brisk tomorrow night with a bit of rain or drizzle, low 40. Could be a bit of drizzle to start on Sunday. Clouds should break for some sun later on with a high of 54. And Monday will be a warmer day with times of clouds and sunshine. Monday's high 64 degrees. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Brian Thompson on New York's weather station. 1010 wins on 92.3 FM.
Every 15 seconds, someone is diagnosed with cancer. If it's happened to you or someone you love, the American Cancer Society can help at every step of the journey. Visit cancer.org today.
Ready to roll the dice on the Upper East Side? Some are calling it Snake Eyes, though.
The proposed casino would be built partially underground and is just one part of the mixed-use development dubbed Freedom Plaza. Solo Vienna Group CEO Michael Hirschman.
Our residential will have over 45% affordable housing, a daycare center, restaurants, a medical facility.
There is local support, but not from the community board led by Sandra McKee.
They're trying very hard to convince the community, but I must say, I'm not sure they know it's contingent on having the casino.
McKee says additional traffic near the UN and noise are the main concerns. Marla Diamond, 1010 wins on 92.3 FM.
Some are criticizing its location next to the UN. Some say bird poop, as they call it, landing on you is good luck. What about an entire bird? News reporter Peter Gleason knows what that is like now while doing a live shot.
A bird just landed on my head! What is going on? What was that about? I did not like that at all. The back of your hair's standing up now. I mean, you got good hair, though. What's going on?
Everyone wants 15 seconds of fame. Apparently birds, too. This was in front of the White House at that. Storming personnel, radio, the federal agencies, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration.
According to an internal document obtained by CBS News, the Trump administration is proposing cuts to NOAA's budget by nearly $1.7 billion, with significant reductions to education, grants, research, and climate-related programs. Right now, this is only a proposal, and it needs to be approved by Congress. The goal of the administration would be to refocus NOAA on weather forecasting, but experts say that's directly tied to climate research.
Stacey Lynn with the story. Elon Musk just out of a public spat with trade advisor Peter Navarro. Now, is there trouble brewing at a higher level, so to speak? Elon Musk apparently calling the president's NASA funding cuts troubling, posting that on social media today, saying he cannot take part in those budget talks since his SpaceX is a major NASA contractor. According to a draft budget plan, there is a call for the budget to get slashed by 20% across the board, according to Ars Technica. Two genders, one time, a word from the White House.
President Donald Trump is not a fan of the semi-annual time change in the U.S., saying it's unpopular, inconvenient, and costly. Now Trump is urging Congress to push hard for more daylight at the end of the day. Trump's social media post comes a day after a Senate panel heard testimony on the issue. Last month, Trump said he was 50-50 on making a change because parents are not fond of sending their kids to school in the dark in the morning. The president's current position, calling for more daylight at the end of the day, would push the schedule forward, keeping the country on its current schedule. Daylight savings time was first adopted as a wartime measure in 1942 and is still recognized in most parts of the country. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
Entertainment is next. More music from Shabuzi. First a bar song, then, well, we'll let you know.
I'm Ultima Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Every time one of my children started driving, it was terrifying. I am quite aware of the dangers being on the road. Thousands of accidents happen across the country. We see it every day. These families' lives will be changed in an instant. We fight for these families as if they were our own. We've become America's largest injury law firm by winning cases just like these. If you've been injured in a car accident, call us.
Injured? Dial pound law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why, when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. With easy access to 1 million-plus products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them. The right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Why'd I go to the doctor? One day at the firehouse, I was so lightheaded I could barely stand. Even my crew noticed. Getting checked out was the right call. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit NoTimeToWait.com, sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Wins News Time 7:38, time for 1010 Wins Entertainment. First a bar song, Tipsy, now Shabuzi. Moving on to Where I've Been Isn't Where I'm Going, a complete edition with new features from Jelly Roll, Sierra Farrell. The new tune just dropping today, an expanded version of his breakthrough album, 6 new tracks, too. Mariah Carey unveiling sprawling 20th anniversary edition of the Emancipation of Mimi, a 5-disc anniversary edition. Announced on Instagram today, there's bonus tracks, remixes. Kendrick Lamar and SZA releasing a romantic video for Luther, the collaborative hit from the former's 2024 surprise album. They're kicking off a tour. They land at MetLife Stadium May 8th and 9th.
Entertainment on 1010 Wins is sponsored by Shulman & Hill, New York's injury lawyers.
Go to hurtny.com.
That's hurtny.com.
I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg with your Lowe's weekend weather update. In New York City, Saturday will be cloudy and chilly with periods of rain and a high near 50. Sunday should dry out with clouds, some sun, and a high in the mid-50s. Springfest at Lowe's means can't miss savings for your home and lawn. Right now, buy 3 bags, get 3 free on Miracle Grow 0.75 cubic foot all-purpose garden soil. Valid through 4/16. Excludes Alaska and Hawaii. Selection varies by location while supplies last.
Here's comedians and Skechers Getting Comfortable, presented by Hands-Free Skechers Slip-Ins.
Hey, I'm Bobby Slayton, and I'm here with my pal, comedian, and Skechers ambassador, Mr. Howie Mandel.
Why did it take so long to invent something as amazing as slip-ins? I know it seems simple, but it took Skechers to invent a better pair of shoes.
Yep, with Skechers Slip-Ins, you just step it and go. You don't have to touch your shoes. And by the way, Slip-Ins are for the whole family, men, women, and kids. In all your favorite Skechers styles, find Skechers Slip-Ins at a Skechers store, Skechers.com, or wherever stylish footwear is sold.
The station you know, the people you trust.
The News Watch never stops. This is 1010 Wins at 92.3 FM. You give us 22 minutes, we'll give you the world.
Good evening. Light rain, 44 degrees at 7:40. I'm Mario Lopez. Here's what's happening. We learned the name of the pilot in yesterday's helicopter crash as the NTSB investigates. A major development in the case of the Columbia grad student picked up by ICE, a disappointment for him. They plan to appeal. The top federal prosecutor in New Jersey says that she's launching a probe into the governor and state attorney general over the state's directive to local law enforcement to not cooperate with ICE. They have an answer. Jailed Jeffrey Epstein accomplice appealing her case to the Supreme Court. Will it be Blockbuster 2.0 in Brooklyn? Increasing wind and cold, says AccuWeather. Steadier, heavier rain into the night, low 39 degrees. News time 7:41. Time for traffic and transit. Let's check in with Greg Rex.
Well, you've got the Mary J. Blige concert tonight over at UBS Arena. That's why the cross islands are west either way, south from the Throgs Neck, northbound from off of the Southern State and the Belt. The Van Wyck's loaded either way over to Atlantic Avenue. The southbound Cross Island, southbound FDR Drive on the east side of Manhattan. That's a very slow ride from the RFK Bridge all the way on down towards the Queensboro. Stay with the southbound West Side Highway instead. It's going to do it a whole lot better for you. Here's what you need to know about the bridges and tunnels. Citybound George coming up, west side, the best of it out. Cross Bronx still very slow from Rosedale Avenue. That'll still eat up 30 to 40 minutes of your night. Lincoln, pretty good ride either way. Holland's about a half hour home, and the outbound covered roadway and Skyway slammed. Getting through Jersey City with a wreck. The Newark Bay is better. And in the Bronx, Bruckner eastbound getting over to the Bronx River Parkway. You got a crash. That's why you're slow all the way back towards East 149th Street. I'm Greg Rice, 1010 Wins on 92.3 FM.
As we learn the name of the pilot who died in the tour helicopter that went down yesterday in the waters of the Hudson, Sean Johnson, 36. The investigation goes on into the cause of the crash that killed him and a vacationing family from Spain yesterday afternoon.
NTSB Chair Jennifer Homendy says investigators are already examining debris.
Our team began pulling components in the engine off the wreckage.
In addition to turning the crushed chopper right side up. NYPD dive teams are still in the water looking for the main rotor, the transmission, the roof, and tail structures. Greg Kearse is Jersey City's emergency management director. He says part of the difficulty has been getting boats close to the water's edge, part of the debris field.
Emergency service people, people from my office are out there physically walking the shoreline recovering items.
He says conditions have been choppy and murky. Juliet Papa, 1010 Wins on 92.3 FM.
The NTSB is calling on witnesses to come forward and share what they saw at witness@ntsb.gov. That's witness@ntsb.gov. This devastating and deadly crash puts more light on the issue of choppers in the city's busy skies, especially where described as non-essential flights. Assembly members are on Mamdani and mayoral candidate telling 1010 Wins.
There is more that we can do as legislators and as leaders to this grief. We can also ensure that this grief does not continue to extend into the same for many more families to come. And I think this is our responsibility. This is something that so many New Yorkers have been calling for quite some time and instead have been ignored.
The metro area has seen dozens of chopper crashes since the 60s, though federal data shows they've become less frequent. This morning, however, on Fox 5, Mayor Adams said he was not in support of such helicopter travel. He was not in support of such helicopter travel.
Jersey City Mayor Steve Phillips says Augustin Escobar was in the city on business, his wife and 3 young kids flying in from Spain to meet up. And the tourist helicopter trip was part of a 40th birthday celebration for Escobar's wife, Mercedes.
This is a really, really sad situation. The more you learn about it and the family situation, it just becomes worse and worse and more horrific.
And Phillips tells 1010 Wins he's working to expedite the release of the family so they can be flown back to Spain for burial. He's also calling for a ban on these tourist helicopter flights.
The truth is that it is a busy airspace, and a ban probably makes sense with regards to those tourist helicopters.
Glenn Shaw, 1010 Wins, 92.3 FM.
This is still a developing story, so keep it here with us on 1010 Wins. And just to clarify again, this morning on Fox 5, Mayor Adams said he did not support the banning of such helicopter travel. Wins News Time 7:45. Another fatal tragedy claimed many lives in the Dominican Republic. The collapse of that nightclub roof Tuesday at the Jet Set Club in Santo Domingo, killing 221, more than 150 others injured. Mayor Adams is announcing he's traveling to the Dominican Republic Sunday to stand in solidarity with the Dominican community. He'll be joined by Department of Transportation Commissioner Idanis Rodriguez, who was born and raised in the Dominican Republic before emigrating to the U.S. Governor Hochul directing state flags to be lowered in memory of those lives lost and those injured and their families. The flags to be lowered tomorrow through Sunday. New York has the largest Dominican population of any U.S. state. Trying to avoid, stay ahead of the price tariffs, either way on the agenda for companies here in the U.S., which we may feel at the cash register. Some are trying to get a jump, though, on the tariffs.
Be prepared to pay higher prices for things like cell phones, laptops, and toys, as the majority of them come from China. Expect the cost of all that stuff you order from Amazon to increase, as more than 60% of its sales come from third-party sellers, many of whom source products from China. The 90-day pause for dozens of other countries has prompted some companies to offer pre-tariff sales, hoping customers will buy their furniture, electronics, cars, and more now, before the stiff tariffs kick in.
And that report tonight from correspondent Stacy Lynn. There appears to be continuing tariff worries on Wall Street. S&P 500 rose 1.8% Friday after veering between gains and losses, closing a historic week full of big swings. Dow Jones went from an early loss of nearly 340 to gains of 10 before closing with a gain of 619. NASDAQ Composite rose 2.1% for the latest Bloomberg Money Watch at 26 and 56. Past the hour here on 1010 Wins.
Hi, this is Stu Leonard, and I'm here with Bill, whose family's been smoking Easter hams locally for 3 generations.
Stu, we use real white hickory chips to smoke the hams overnight.
Stu Leonard spiral cut hams are only $3.99 a pound, fully cooked, heat and serve easy. And don't miss our grass-fed boneless leg of lamb butterfly roast, only $6.99 a pound. Ham or lamb, grab a bottle of Pinot Noir, and I'm coming over.
The thrills never stop at Empire City Casino. You can win big with non-stop action, including electronic table games and over 4,400 of the hottest slots. Indulge in one-of-a-kind flavors at our amazing restaurants. Spin and win cash, free play, and unforgettable trips. This is your chance to drive away in a brand new car during our monthly giveaways. More play, more perks. Earn it all here with MGM Rewards, only at Empire City Casino. Ride the thrill. Must be 18 years of age or older to play New York Lottery games. Please play responsibly. Must be 21 to join MGM Rewards. Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Are you a victim of the timeshare trap and think there's no way out? I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, the original timeshare cancellation expert. And I'm here to tell you that there is a way out. All you need to do is give my office a call. I will send you a timeshare exit information kit absolutely free, explaining how the timeshare industry works and your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free info kit. 800-780-5959. 800-780-5959.
When something happens to your car, you might say,
My car!
but what you really need to say is something that can actually help.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
And just like that, State Farm is there to help you file your claim right on the State Farm mobile app. So just remember, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
State Farm, Bloomington, Illinois.
A major development in the case of the Columbia grad student picked up by ICE for campus pro-Palestinian protest at Columbia. All this as efforts continue to keep him here.
The judge in Louisiana says the administration's argument is facially reasonable that Mahmoud Khalil poses adverse foreign policy consequences for the U.S. Khalil is a former graduate student and was detained by federal immigration agents on March 8th in New York after he took part in on-campus demonstrations. He was transferred to an immigration detention center in Louisiana. Khalil is a legal U.S. resident and could be deported to Syria or Algeria. His lawyers have until April 23rd to appeal.
That report from correspondent Linda Kenyon. Lawyers for Khalil says they plan to keep fighting to seek a waiver, and a federal judge in New Jersey has temporarily barred his deportation. Saying the Trump administration is trying to crack down, according to his lawyers, on free speech protected by the U.S. Constitution. His wife is a U.S. citizen due to give birth soon. A top federal prosecutor in New Jersey says she's launching a probe into Governor Phil Murphy, State Attorney General Platkin over the state's directive to local law enforcement to not cooperate with ICE. Attorney General Platkin referring to Alina Habba, appointed by the president as interim U.S. attorney in the state.
I know the interim U.S. attorney.
She hasn't been there that long. She said publicly she wants to politicize the office. I hope she starts doing her job. I've reached out in multiple ways, and she has not wanted to have a conversation.
That sound from a press conference earlier today. On a Midas Touch podcast, Governor Murphy said law enforcement works with federal authorities, adding they were not in the immigration business per se, but will work with immigration authorities if they need to.